This jagged, fading script is the last thing he ever wrote. Pinned beneath a frozen ridge, with enemy soldiers closing in, a young scout spent his final minutes tracing desperate promises to a family he knew he'd never see again. This is the heartbreaking true story behind a letter that never should have survived. A message that defied war, time, and the very ice that claimed its author. Imagine the cold, not just a chill in the air, but a deep, biting cold that seeps into your bones and steals the feeling from your fingers. This was the world of a lone scout, hunkered down behind a jagged spine of rock. The air was thin, smelling of pine and cordite. Below, the valley was a sea of white, broken only by the skeletal shapes of frozen trees. The only sound was the rhythmic, distant thud of artillery, a heartbeat for a dying world. It was a sound that offered no comfort, only a constant reminder of the chaos he had temporarily escaped. He lay there, body aching, his breath crystallizing in front of his face. His hands, swollen and purple with frostbite, trembled uncontrollably. In one hand, he clutched a small, worn-down pencil stub, its lead barely peeking from the wood. He was completely alone. Radio contact was lost hours ago. His unit was gone, scattered or destroyed. There was no extraction coming. The sun was beginning its slow descent, painting the snow in shades of orange and pink, a beautiful, cruel farewell. As the temperature dropped with the light, a grim certainty settled in his heart. This ridge would be his final resting place. The silence between the artillery barrages was immense, a heavy blanket of isolation that was more terrifying than any explosion. In those moments, something inside him shifted. The instinct for survival, the desperate hope for a miraculous rescue, began to fade. It was replaced by a different kind of urgency, a primal need that was even stronger than the will to live. He had to write. He had to leave something behind. It was a frantic, almost primal compulsion. He tore through his pack with clumsy, numb fingers, ignoring the searing pain. Rations, a spare sock, a tarnished compassul, useless. Then his fingers brushed against it, a crumpled, folded piece of paper tucked inside a thin book. It was nothing special, probably a logistics manifest or a page torn from a novel, but to him it was the most precious object in the world. He flattened the paper against a rock, the rough surface a stark contrast to the words he was about to form. The chaos of the battlefield was still echoing in his ears, the shouts, the explosions, the metallic scream of ricochets. But as he pressed the pencil to the page, a strange, quiet bubble formed around him. The world outside, with its violence and its noise, receded. Inside this bubble, there was only the frantic scratch of graphite on paper and the whirlwind of thoughts he was desperately trying to capture. His mind raced, trying to distill a lifetime of love and regret into a few short paragraphs. How do you say goodbye forever? How do you explain the unexplainable? His writing was jagged, the letters misshapen by the trembling of his frozen hands, but each word was infused with the full weight of his soul. He didn't write about the war. He didn't describe the horror, the fear, or the enemy he was hiding from. Instead, his mind traveled thousands of miles away, back to the warmth of his home, to the mundane, beautiful life he was being torn from. He wrote to his wife, his words painting a picture of a life interrupted. He promised to fix the leaky faucet in the kitchen, the one that kept her up at night with its steady drip, 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 drip. He told her he was sorry he never finished building the bookshelf for their son, the one they had planned together, sketching it out on a napkin one evening. He wrote about the small, unkept promises that now felt like monumental failures. Missing his daughter's 5th birthday, a milestone he would now never witness. not being there to see his son off to his first day of school. These were the things that haunted him, not the spectre of the enemy soldiers drawing closer. In these last moments, the hardened soldier, trained to kill and to endure, disappeared. He was no longer a warrior. He was a husband, a father, a son. He was a man stripped bare, facing his own mortality, his heart breaking not for his own life, but for the life he was leaving behind, for the moments he would miss, and for the promises he could no longer keep. The page became stained with more than just dirt. It was stained with the silent tears that froze on his cheeks. As he wrote, the light began to fail. The brilliant colors of sunset bled into the deep purples and grays of twilight. The shadows grew long, stretching like dark fingers across the snow-covered landscape. With the fading light came a new sound, closer this time, the crunch of boots on snow, the low murmur of voices in a language he recognized as the enemy's. They were here, a patrol, circling the ridge, sweeping the area. His time was running out. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the encroaching silence. He wrote faster, his hand flying across the page. The pencil lead was wearing down, the lines becoming fainter, ghostlier. One final sentence, one last declaration of love. He pushed down with all his remaining strength, the graphite crumbling into dust, just as he formed the last letter. It was done. The pencil stub fell from his numb fingers. With a final, desperate act of preservation, he carefully folded the letter, his movements slow and deliberate. He tucked it deep inside his jacket, into an inner pocket, hoping to shield it from the snow and the ice. He prayed that somehow, someday, someone would find it. As the voices grew louder, he closed his eyes, his mission complete. He had sent his soul home. Years passed, the war ended, the world moved on. The snow on that lonely ridge melted and fell, melted and fell. Season after season, the scout became a statistic, one of the countless souls lost to history, his final resting place known only to the wind. But his last act of love refused to be erased. A hiker, exploring the remote mountains decades later, stumbled upon a tattered remnant of a uniform preserved by the ice. And inside that uniform, protected from the elements, was a letter. The paper was brittle, the ink faded, but the words were still there. The letter eventually made its way back to his family, to the children who were now grown, with families of their own. For them, it was more than just a piece of paper. It was a voice from the past, a ghost returning home. It was the father they barely knew, speaking to them across the chasm of time. The unkept promises of a leaky faucet and an unfinished bookshelf became a powerful testament to his love, a tangible piece of the man he was. This single, fragile letter accomplished what armies and nations could not. It bridged the gap between the living and the dead. It ensured that a soldier, lost and alone on a frozen mountain, was not forgotten. His sacrifice was given a voice, his story was told, and his memory was etched, not in stone, but on the hearts of those he loved. It stands as a profound reminder that even in the face of absolute despair, the most powerful legacy we can leave is a simple, handwritten expression of love, a legacy that can, and did, outlive its writer. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider sharing it so that more people can hear this incredible story of love and sacrifice. Follow our channel for more true stories that deserve to be remembered.